Hi, Gibaud, and today I want to speak about a camera that is so special for me, the Leica MP. This is a new camera, as Leica still makes this camera. This is a film camera, and I'm not just going to tell my impression or opinion, because most videos about Leica MP or Leica M in general is just about sensation. And many people would like to know it works, so I'm going to tell you a bit more. And also I will tell you the differences with my Leica M4-P that I already had, so you can know a bit more about these two cameras. So let's start. First of all, I want to thank Duque Fotografia, that is based in Gran Canaria in the Canary Islands in Spain, because it's a shop that sells photography gear. And I was speaking with them, and as I am a YouTuber, we get to an agreement, so they made me a special discount. I still pay most of the cameras, but I'm so thankful to this commercial gesture they made, and thanks to them, I've got this camera. The attention was great. We spoke with via WhatsApp first to see what we could, when I could get it, all this, and I got it really fast. In case you would visit their website, you will see that two prices. One have the Canarian taxes, that is EJIC, I think it's 7%, and the other price is mainland Spain, and that includes the rest of Europe, obviously, with a different tax, because it's 21% VAT. This is why the prices are different. But you can still buy, and they send it to you with European tax, obviously. And if you're in the Canary Islands, they send to any islands within 24 hours when they receive it. I got it in less than 4 days, so really happy with them. So thank you so much. This is your fault if I spend so much money, because you made a discount, but thank you so much. Okay, so let's go for it. So when I received the box, I asked Ingrid to do the unboxing so I could record. You feel so special. This box is like, yeah, for jewelry. You expect, like, I don't know, a necklace, a watch, whatever. It's so beautifully packed, the way you open, then you have the drawers with some things in there. It feels so special. There's one thing that doesn't appear in the on the unboxing that Ingrid made, because it was so, wow, we were so yeah, it's so special, that moment, that you cannot concentrate too much. So I forgot to show. I'm going to hide the numbers here. Okay, here you get this card, and on this card, I'm going to fold it not to show you the serial number. Here you have two signatures. One is the person who made the quality control, the last one, will check everything is fine. And here the person who packed the camera. And when you see that, you feel so special. Some people will say this is marketing, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. It really goes along with what I felt when I visited the installation in Wetzlar in June. The video is here. You feel so special. And it's true that when I got my M4-P, it was secondhand. I didn't have all this show, didn't have the box, and have all this. Still, I felt really special. But when you receive this camera, you feel that you're getting a jewel. You feel like you are special. You feel that they've thought about the person who would buy this camera. They prepared it so you would feel good. It was amazing. Probably my best unboxing in my life. I've unboxed many cameras, okay? And this feels so special. So now we're going to speak about the camera. As I said, this is a film camera, but it also exists, Leica M, in digital camera, okay? And many people don't understand the difference between this camera and a reflex camera. I don't even speak about mirrorless, let's speak about a reflex camera. Well, the way you check what you see and the way you focus has nothing to do one with the other. First of all, as you can see here, you have a viewfinder that is here. And what you see here is what you see from here. You don't see what's going through the lens. Actually, if I leave the cap on, I didn't notice it, I will make a picture in black. If it's a digital M, I will notice it on my screen, but if not, when I develop the film, then I would realize I always left, or once or twice, or always left the cap. So that's a big problem. So what does this mean? If I do not see what goes through the lens, it means several things. First, doesn't matter what focal length I use, I will always see the general frame, the viewfinder size will be always the same. So what they've done is, depending on the lens I use, it will place a frame in there, so I see where my framing is, because I've got the general view and I don't have, and I need to know exactly where the lens is cutting, okay, where it's framing, okay. Depending on the lens, it will bring different frames, and actually I can move this small lever here, and even I'm on 35mm here. If I want to see how it would be with a 50, I can move the lever. It will bring up my 50mm frame, for example, and see how it would be, okay? So many people say, what's the point to do that? Why not use something that goes through here? Well, basically because being on the side, it lets you, if you want to open your left eye, normally it's for people who use the right eye, okay? But if you want to open your left eye, at any time you can see the scene. So if I'm doing a reportage and if I would see here and not everything, I can open and see there's a bicycle coming here. So, whoa, great, I can capture, wait for it to be in the frame and make the picture, or move a bit and reframe, okay? So this is why so many people for street photography, they really love to have rangefinders because of this. Second, how do you focus this? Well, it's really different. As you can see here, there's also a small window, and actually this window actually captures a picture also. Here there's a rangefinder with 127 pieces parts, okay, that's a lot. And that will transfer an image to a patch in the center of my viewfinder here. And I need to then move my manual focusing. They use only manual focus lenses and only prime lenses. I will move it until both pictures, they match. They overlap each other and it's perfectly in focus. As you can see, on eye or a line. So I'm going to do that. This is actually trigonometry, the way it calculates. According to the distance, you move here and it will match. So is it easy to do? No, it's not complicated. It's just getting used to it. But there are some negative points. First, as the general viewfinder is only the same size, if you have the longer you have the lens, the focal length you use, the smaller the frame will be in there, so the harder to compose and see what you're doing. And the wider the lens, well, the more stuck to the side will be the frame, and maybe with glasses it's a bit hard to see. So normally people who use that kind of camera, even the lenses go from 21 to 135mm. Most people use 28, 35, 50mm, sometimes 75, 90, but usually they use more between 28 and 50mm because this is where the frame are more comfortable, and our focal length normally you use for street photography, okay? 21mm and 24mm, there's no frame in there, so you actually need to have an external viewfinder, okay? But this is the way it works. Something else, as you don't see through the lens, you don't know the depth of field. So if you're on f2 and you feel that everything is in focus because you see through that, it's not. Maybe there's a really shallow depth of field. This is why on their lenses there's always a distance scale, so you know if everything is in focus or from where it is and until where. So this is so important. Is it difficult to use that kind of camera? I think it's getting used to it. Some people love it, but it's true that people who love this camera, they always speak about the Leica magic, whether it's digital or film. This is the way you hold the camera. You are really together with the camera. And when we speak about Leica magic, normally we speak about M camera, not about any other Leica camera. Some people may find some magic on any other Leica camera, obviously, but when we speak about the Leica, the feeling, the special sensation, it's about Leica M, okay? This camera is just incredible for me, but these are the main characteristics. So now I'm going to tell you a lot more about settings, all this, and a bit more about how it works and the difference with my M4-P, okay? And by the way, if you wanted to help me, I'll remind you I've got a new version of my member area. No special videos there, just to help me. Really affordable price. You get a small star next to your name and I answer your question with priority. So thank you so much. I also have affiliated links in the description. Please use them, that really helps me. And if you wanted to buy Luminar Neo or Aperty by Skylum, get a 10% discount with my code ERIC10. 10% on top of the offer they have. You still place your code, it's even cheaper for you. So use it, save some money. And with ERIC20, you get a 20% discount with K&F website, with all the accessories, photo accessories by K&F Concept. Get a 20% discount. They have also more brand there. So use it, you save money, you help me. So great, thank you so much. Let's carry on. Let's go back to the frame that appear in the viewfinder. Well, it depends on the camera you have. On the MP you have 6 frames, but there are other cameras that don't have 6 frames, they have less, and other they have a different focal length for this frame. Okay, even in digital, the M8 for example started at 24mm, and the system goes from 21 to 135mm. But the frame, you don't have 21, you don't have 24mm. For that you need an external viewfinder. Okay, but the frame in the MP are they go 2x2, 28 and 90mm, 35 and 135mm, 50 and 75mm. But I'm going to give you a tip. Because it's designed this way, because it's trigonometry and the way it is, the frame that appears does not necessarily correspond exactly to the framing of your pictures. A really good friend gave me a tip, but actually his tip is more for M3 cameras, M4 cameras. If you check the user manual of the MP, it tells you at minimum focusing distance of 70 cm, the frame that you get is actually the width is the real picture is actually the thickness of one line of the frame less. So it's a bit less than what you see, okay? So if you're going to frame something close, 70 centimeters, take this into account because maybe you're going to have a picture that is smaller than what you saw. At 2 meters, these are the same as the frame, okay? The frame coincides with what you see, with what your picture will be actually. At infinity, it's different. Actually, the picture is larger than the frame that is in your viewfinder. If you look, it's a rectangle frame. It will be one line thicker. When you see the thickness of the line, it will be one line higher than what you see in the framing and 4 lines wider than what you see in your frame. Okay, so it means when you do at infinity a picture, well, it will be larger than your frame, and if you are at 70 centimeters, it will be smaller than your frame. So take it into account. Also, you will notice that when you actually do the focusing, this frame is actually moving this way. You say, why is it moving? Because as we don't see through the lens, and it is here, the closer it is or the further it is, the more parallax error you get. So it actually moves your frame to correct this error. So your framing is correspond to your subject. Otherwise, you would feel your subject is here, actually is here. And that would be a problem. This is why there is a parallax correction, okay? That sounds complicated, but when you know these tips, it's easy. When you're on a digital M camera, it's easy because straight away you could check your problem. When you're on a film camera, maybe you will have to spend a bit of money, some few shots that you miss until you learn it, and actually you must learn how not to forget about this, because otherwise maybe you do a close-up shot, 70 centimeters, and you feel the framing is perfect, really just adjust it, and then when you see a picture you miss this part of it. You you miss part of it. Or the other way around, you see the landscape at infinity and you don't want to get something into the frame, and it is into the frame because it's actually larger than what you saw here. So you need to make this small calculation. But it's not that complicated, honestly. For loading the film, it's exactly the same way you do it on the MP than on my M4-P, okay? It was before, when you have the M2, M3, it was different, but then since the M4 is exactly the same way to load, it's not difficult. Here you see the hands of a very, very good friend who used Leica, and as his really good friend, I left him the honor to load the first film in my Leica MP. It's what the difference is when you're going to rewind, because the rewinder is different here. On the MP, it's the classical one, the same as you had on the M3, M2. Actually, there is an accessory if you want to rewind faster. On the MP, you have the same as on the M6, M7, M4. It's actually a way of rewinding that is a lot faster. If we speak about aesthetic, I really prefer the MP. I think it's a lot nicer, okay? But if we speak about speed, it is a lot slower to do it this way, except if you have the accessory. But yeah, basically loading is easy. I actually made a video about loading on M camera, a film. I'll leave you the link here. And one thing, normally you could drop the film in there, get it in the start, and then start winding, and that's it, without checking if the small cranks are properly placed. But I had the problem on the M4-P and also on this MP that I didn't check, and actually it was not properly placed and I was winding for nothing. So honestly, it takes a second. I prefer to check if the film is properly placed in there without trusting the automatic, okay? But some people, I've seen people loading hundreds of film without checking ever, and they never had the problem. Maybe I'm not the right person for that, okay? But honestly, easy to load a film in this camera. So what is the difference between the MP and my M4-P? Well, you see this on top of it, you say, well, this is an external light meter, but it goes this way. The big difference between this camera and this one is the Leica MP has an internal light meter. And actually, Leica still makes three types of film cameras. The MP, this one, the MA, it looks like this one, but doesn't have internal light meter, and the M6, the renewal or the reborn M6. It's actually an MP that is disguised as on M6, okay, with different winder or less, but also had an internal light meter. So here, or I use an external light meter, or I do Sunny 16 system to know how to expose. Here I can actually have the metering. There is one battery here. The battery is just for that. If you don't have any battery, it doesn't matter. It still works completely. It's not like the M7 that actually needed a battery to operate, unless you were limited, you accepted to be limited to 1/60th of a second and 1/125th of a second, okay, of exposure, of speed, okay, shutter speed. In this case, if you don't have any battery, it still works perfectly, no problem. But it means also that that makes you a bit more differences. There's also a small difference here is the lever to wind the winder for the film. Here it is like plastic and articulated, and this one, this is a classical look you actually had on the M3, M2 that I really love. For me, it's so beautiful. But it also means that the door is different. On the back here, I have on the MP to select the ISO or ASA, say as you want. You select it, and here on the M4-P there is no such selection. What is here is just a reminder. I actually get a really greasy pencil. I can make a mark to remind or write what the ISO of my film in there. But there is no electronic in there, no any function at all. That also means that the back door here is a bit more heavy because there is this system that is integrated in the door, and there are contacts to pass on the information about the ISO to the measuring system. With here you will see in the viewfinder LED lights to tell you if it's underexposed, properly exposed, overexposed, and also a battery warning if it's empty, okay? So this is the main difference between these two cameras. One is metered and the other is not. So let's speak about the metering. on this camera there is no metering system, so I've placed this external light meter. I could use a handheld. This one is reflected light, the same as this camera, but I could have a handheld and do reflected or incident light, okay? The big difference is here the information I get for metering, whether it is with this light meter or handheld light meter, it is not through the lens. So if I've got an ND filter or color filter that actually cut light, I have to take it into account with my measure the metering I get, because whether it's an external cell or whatever, it has no clue that there is a filter on this. When I use this camera, the system is through the lens, TTL. It means if I've got any ND filter on there, it will take into account that it will say there is less light getting in and will adjust the lighting accordingly. So how does it work? In here, you have a white patch. First, you actually need to wind this, because it's on one on the curtain, on the first curtain, on the second, so it appears. As you can see, it's a white patch. It's white because I think it gathers better light, but actually calculate as if it was a gray card 18%, okay? So it will calculate your light, transfer the information to the LED system here, but it goes through the lens, okay? It means if you have an ND filter, it will take it into account. And the way the LED light work, it's really basic. You don't have all the third and one stop, two stop, all this. It's really basic, but it works. You have two triangles and a small dot, and also a small bar. If the bar is a vertical bar, is actually blinking, it means the battery needs to be changed. If it's on, it needs to be changed. If it's blinking, you must urgently change. And if it doesn't switch on anything, battery is obviously dead. Okay, take this into account. And then second, the left triangle, if it's on, it means your picture is underexposed by at least one stop. When it's on and the dot is on, it's underexposed by half a stop. And actually the arrow tells you which direction you must go on your lens or on the speed to get to the right exposure. In this case, it's just a dot that is on, it's properly exposed. On the right, well, it's for overexposure, half stop, full stop, or more than a stop, okay? So it's basic, but it works. But take into account two things. What I'm going to tell right now works for this camera and any camera, digital, the one you have, or whatever. Any camera that works on reflected light, not incident light, reflected light, not like an external light meter, will calculate as if it was pointing at a 18% gray card. So it means if I point at grass, for example, it's around the same as an 18% gray card. When the dot is on, it's properly exposed, that's fine. But let's say I point at snow. It thinks it's 18% gray card. It's not, it's purely white. So it will underexpose my picture by at least two stops, probably two stops. So it means I must know that. Like the zone system, I must correct it on speed or aperture by two stops, because otherwise my picture will be underexposed, sorry. Same thing if I point at a black, I don't know, black curtain, black door, whatever. Same thing, it will happen also. It will think it's really dark, and I will end up with a picture that will be overexposed. So I must compensate. It's not just this camera, it's any camera. Most people, when they do digital, they don't realize that, and they actually rectify in post-production. But on film camera, you cannot play with that. It's risky. So you should expose properly. So learn the zone system. It's not just this camera, it's any camera, and make sure you compensate accordingly. When you want to actually calculate, you half press here, and the light will be blinking, will switch on, blinking, no, they will switch on, and you know what to do. You don't have to make the picture where you actually measure. Let's say there's a black door and someone is just in front of it, you want a picture of that person. Nothing stops you to measure on the wall that is maybe gray, see what is exposure properly, and then reframe, and then focus properly, obviously, and click. So it's really easy. On this camera, don't forget that here, if you go on the bulb mode, it's also off. So you go, when you put the camera in your bag, put the off, because this way, if you accidentally press in the bag this, it will not use the battery, okay? Otherwise, when you walk around, you don't need to put on off, okay? But it works fine. It's easy to work. That works fine, okay? Something else. The patch in there is 12 millimeter high. So depending on the lens you use, it will not measure the full picture or only part of it. So I'll show you right now. So take this into account. It's important to know where the measure is being made. If you're on a 28 millimeter, the patch is a small part of your picture. If you're on 135 millimeter, it's most part of your picture. So here I've got to check your manual if you buy this camera to know exactly where it's actually measuring, okay? Otherwise you may have problems and don't get the exposure you wish. Obviously, it's important to put the right ISO behind. It goes from 6 to 6400 ISO, okay? So you must indicate it properly. If we look at, maybe you saw when I removed the lens, you see the curtains in there. The curtains are actually fabric. You have it's rubberized, but it's really important to take care with this because the typical Leica M accident, you go for coffee, you have your Leica on the table, no cap, the sun gets in there, it makes like magnifying, and then it burns in there. You have a hole in the curtain. So it's so important you always place the cap. Obviously, if you have it on your neck and the sun is up there, it's no problem. But if you have it placed like this, or maybe if you're in front of a sunset and it goes in there, you may burn this. It can happen on many cameras. I see people doing checking for an eclipse and for hours with the digital camera and actually burns the shutter also. But this is the typical accident with M Leica. So make sure you put the cap or you don't orientate towards the sun because that could be a big problem, okay? The speed goes from 1 second up to 1/1000th of a second plus bulb mode. As I said, don't forget, when you're not going to use the camera, you place it in your bag, put on bulb because it's also the off mode, so you will not empty the battery because it will keep measuring, so that's important. If we look at the size, it's 138 millimeter by 77 by 38 thickness without the lens obviously, and the shape except for the M5 has been the same since the year 1954. And the weight is, I said, 585 grams. I don't know if the weight is a bit different or not, I'm not sure. And the feeling is the same, is so special for so many years. The build is different because they started with brass Leica, then they went to zinc Leica, and this one is brass. This one I'm not sure because the first M4-P series were brass and then they were zinc. Some people told me this was brass because of the viewfinder, the way it looks, okay? But brass is for me a lot better. The brass stopped, they did it with, until the M4, then they started to have zinc, and then with the MP is brass, the MA, and also the new M6, the older M6 was zinc, and the way it looks is different. This one is black painted. I love it. It exists in silver chrome and also in black painted. This is the only one right now that is black painted. Actually, the other black, like the M6 or the MA, is chrome black. I love this because when you actually touch it a lot with time and use it, you will see the brass appear like golden color. It's so beautiful. When you use chrome, it looks like it becomes more like a gray. I don't like it as much. It's personal taste. It's not one is better than the other. It's exactly the same. It's if you look at the camera use, okay? But it's a matter of taste, aesthetical taste. Some people say this is really really blinking. This is too much. It's no taste of a black lacquered Leica, but it doesn't matter. Everyone buys what he wants. I just love it, the way it looks, okay? But let's speak about one point that is negative on this MP. First, when you're going to use the trigger, you're going to half press to measure light and then end up, I'm going to wind, okay? And you end up firing, okay? It's really deep. You have to go really deep. On my M4-P, first you have no light measure, but you don't go as deep. So your hand is really relaxed. Here, it makes your hand go a bit more like tensed, and that's a problem because actually if you want to go to really low speed, you don't want to be like this, shaky. So I asked several people. Some people said that you can have it adjusted, so it's not as deep. A friend, Borja Alonso, who is an MA user, said, "You're stupid, you should not buy metered camera, that's your fault," okay? And also, when you press here, it's like it's not that smooth as my friends M2, M3, and M4. I think it's more like, yeah, it's like some kind of friction, really slight. Actually, if I didn't have the M4P, I would not notice it, okay? And if I didn't touch the M2 or the M3, I would not notice it. But now I've seen both, I've got both. I say this one is not as nice to trigger. Maybe when I go to Leica, maybe I ask them if they can adjust it. It's also getting used to it. I read that it's normal at the beginning. It takes time, several rolls until it's a bit softer. I'm not sure, okay? That would be the negative point, because the idea of a Leica M is to really caress the trigger and it shoots by itself. But you have to go so deep, okay? Well, here it's not winded, okay? But if I go like this, the noise is because I was touching this, okay? And actually, it's not really a problem, it's getting used to it. But I was surprised because this is supposed to be mechanical perfection, so I don't know why it goes that deep. I don't know why, okay? But honestly, I just love the camera. It looks beautiful. For me, it looks beautiful, okay? So, now I think if I've forgotten anything, but I don't think so, so we're going to get to the conclusion. So, the big question. Which one of these two cameras is the best? M4P or MP? The answer is really simple. Both of them are the best. Why? Because if we speak about image quality, if you use the same film, if you use the same lens, you'll get the same result. The system is different, one is metered, the other one is not metered, the way it looks, the lever here is different, all this, but the results you will get are the same. The viewfinder of the MP has less problem with flare, all this, but if we speak about image quality, you will not see any difference. Yes, there are builds difference. One is brass, the other one, most of older, some older, like the M4P, M6, not the new one, the older version is different because one is brass and one is zinc. But honestly, if we speak about image quality, you will not see any difference. The difference is the way you feel with the camera. The difference is maybe the build in the way that the thing sometimes it gets a bit problematic, but otherwise there's no problem, okay? So if you cannot afford an MA or an MP or a new M6, get any other. Actually, the only two differences is the M5 that has a different shape and the M7 that has an electronic shutter. It means if you have no battery, it will work only at 1/60th of a second and 1/25th of a second. Otherwise, with battery, it works the same, okay? This is why I don't actually like the M7. But if you cannot afford to have an MP or recent M6, whatever, get on M2. Yeah, you have to reset the counter yourself, okay? But the result will be the same if you use the same lens. So it's like if you ask me, which watch gives you better time? Rolex Daytona or Rolex Oyster? Well, both. One is a lot more expensive than the other, but it's more a matter of unique, of taste, of investment than about time. I would say the same thing about these two cameras. Since 1954, we speak about the same cameras. There slight differences, different builds, all this, but the feeling is so close and the result are exactly the same. So I cannot say one is better than the other. But I can tell you, using a Leica M camera is so special. You feel part of the photography history. Take into account that when Oscar Barnack created this 24x36mm film using a cinema film that it turned around and used 2 frames, it was the start of a really incredible story. A start of what we nowadays call full frame. At that time never anyone call full frame, even at recent film photography time. It's just with digital photography. But honestly, you feel so special, so much part of history. I know if you use a Nikon FM2 or F or Canon, you will be part also of the history. But here we speak about a lot older history. We speak about 100 years since the first Leica was sold. Before 1914 it was created, but 1925 they started to sell them. And the Leica M is since 1954. You feel part of a massive story. Does that make you a better photographer? No, obviously. Does this make you a great photographer? No. Will you make better photography? No. But maybe you will be so much motivated that you will feel like making better photography, better things, better many things. So it's down to you. But honestly, using a Leica M, for me a film M, is something so special. So if you wish to have a Leica M camera, go for it, enjoy it, and have fun. And can you make the same picture with other cameras? Yes, obviously. With a lot cheaper cameras? Yes, obviously. But this feeling is unique. So I hope this video have informed you a few things maybe you didn't know about. And I was so happy to share my feeling, discover my camera, speak about it, give you maybe some tips. And well, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to Duque Photography in Gran Canaria for making this special price for me so I could afford this camera. And thank you to you for watching the video. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, the small button down here and the small bell. If you click on the bell, we'll get notified when I upload a new video. My website, Gibaud.com. If you have any question, please leave a comment below. Also, remind you I've activated in a different way my special member area. No special videos, but yes, you get a small star next to your name and I answer first if you have any question or whatever, and that helps me, so thank you so much. Also, I have affiliated links in the description. Please use them, and don't forget, if you wanted to buy Luminar Neo or Aperty by Skylum, get a 10% discount with my code ERIC10. And if you use ERIC20 on K&F website, where you can find a lot of photography accessories like K&F Concept accessories, tripod, filters, all that, bags, all this, get a 20% discount. So please use it. That helps you, that helps me. So thank you so much. Also, leave you my PayPal account in case you wanted to make a donation. Thank you very much. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.